Welcome back to another video with Mike Claudio, the one, the only, I think it's about, that's about the same.
About the same.
Only a couple inches off.
Yeah, give or take a grenade.
Exactly. Mike and I were talking earlier about financing for customers. Wanted to share some of our thoughts, some of our insider knowledge, if you will. A lot of times we'll see clients that want or need work. In our case, it's more they need work. Mm-hmm. In your case, it's more they want work, I would assume.
Yep, yeah, typically.
And it's more than they have the cash for at that moment, which is very common. So when you run into that situation, you've got several different aspects of that you see, I'm sure.
Yep.
What's a good solution? Are you guys a one-stop shop for that? Do you have partners? How do you play that field?
Sure, yeah. So we deal with clients in kind of all aspects of financing world. So we have people who have cash for everything. We have people who are financing it. We have people who are purchasing or refinancing to kind of get the cash needed for the renovation. And we have people who use kind of different private options as well. So one of the main situations we typically run into are clients who mostly have cash. I mean, most of them are, for the most part, using cash. Favorite type of client, has cash, allows them to be a little more flexible with their project. That's kind of the ideal situation for all parties involved. But not everybody has cash for projects that you're talking potentially in the six figures. So one option, if you currently own your home, would be to do a general refinance, a cash out refi. Allows you to kind of be flexible with that money, do whatever you want with it. Especially in homes in Charlotte right now, there's a lot of equity out there.
Because values have gone
way up. There are a lot of older homes in that Plaza Midwood, Noda, Cotswold area. So there's a lot more value there because they bought it 10 years ago at a pretty low price. It's worth a lot more now, so they can do a cash out refi, whatever they want there. Another option would be like more of a construction loan. That's more of a quicker payback, where on the cash out refi, you're basically refinancing your home and taking cash out. So you're kind of doing a new 15, 20, 30 year mortgage as opposed to a lump sum loan. With a construction loan, you're kind of doing more of a quicker payback. That works really well for people who know, like, hey, I get a bonus in the spring, I want to do this project now. Let me do a construction loan. I'll pay it off in big chunks as I go.
So that's completely separate from
It's completely separate. So you pay it off much quicker. Your mortgage payment doesn't change at all. That's more. So those are the kind of the cash out refi and or construction loan are kind of the main things we see with people who own the property. One of the biggest things that we do, or one of the most biggest situations we run into, are people who are purchasing a property with intent to remodel, and you have a lot of options there.
That was huge in Charlotte for
absolutely huge. Yeah, it still is pretty big deal for most people. So in that situation, you can do things like a 203K loan. There's a home style through Movement. So these are loans that allow you to finance the purchase of the home as well as
the plug Movement Mortgage.
Yeah, hashtag Movement Mortgage. Charlotte. Yeah.
Chris Allen, we love you.
But then ultimately, they finance the purchase of the home as well as the construction process.
Yeah.
So that process looks a lot different than some of the other, because the contractor actually gets involved from the beginning and is involved in the bidding process pre-close, because that contractor ends up being part of the escrow account that the construction money was set aside for. So that's good to get in early with the GC, because it's a pretty lengthy process. It's typically 45 to 60 days to close, but there's a lot of information that's needed both from the contractor and the client. You have to have a lot more details ironed out, because the bank wants to know what you're doing, because that loan ultimately is based on the after renovated value, or the ARV of the property.
Right.
So you need
to see that in the plan.
Yeah, they have to know exactly what you're doing, so they can send an appraiser out to say, okay, after all this work is done, what will the house be worth? So they know how much money do you qualify for the amount of money you're looking for that project.
Yeah.
So it can be a cumbersome process. We have a lot of experience with that. We've done a lot in the area. So that helps us really be prepared.
The watch load for the message.
That helps us be prepared to really go through the process, because it can be cumbersome. It can be kind of overwhelming, but we're really good at kind of holding the client's hand and walking them through that process. And then kind of the third client we work with is the investor. Investors do a lot of work kind of in the simply secondary market. It's not their primary home.
Right.
They're kind of buying secondary properties. In those worlds, your conventional lender doesn't typically help. There's a world of private money lending that a lot of investors use to help get the funds to purchase and renovate homes. Typically a low cost, out-of-pocket buy-in that allows them to use the debt to
other people's money.
So that when they sell the property, they're getting a much higher return on their initial investment, because you're basically just paying back the private money and you put in 20%, you made 100 grand, you just made a 500% return on your money, as opposed to fully financing it yourself kind of lowers your risk a little bit as well.
Yep.
So those are kind of the situations that we run into from both a homeowner, home purchaser, and investor point of view. Love to talk to you about it. If you have any questions or have a project that you have concerns for financing on, as it's probably one of the bigger number projects when it comes to total amount. Like other than buying the home, renovations could be the second largest spend you have in your life. So,
and we're like on our end, we're in a completely different market, if you will, on that, because we're like a maxed out residential roof. Typically, if you're going tile or slate or some kind of luxury designer shingle, totally different ball game. But I mean, for even custom roofs, we're maxing out 25 grand.
Yeah.
Average roof is 7,000 to 8,000. So for us, what we see a lot more is there's a couple of different extremes of it. Either it's like we don't have any money right now, but our roof's falling in, and we have to do something, and they're not necessarily on perfect score. You know, the bank loves you kind of credit. We use Green Sky. I know a lot of service industries use Green Sky.
We use Green Sky,
and they cover a huge gamut. They just have different terms for different people.
Yep. 9
times out of 10, you can get 12 months no interest, which for some of the smaller projects, somebody can be like, all right, well, I can afford a $400 or $500 payment a month to get this done in a year. Mm-hmm. That way, I got the work done, paid no interest on it, and everything. I didn't destroy my house waiting to get this work done. On the other side, typically if it's someone with good or better credit, we don't like getting involved, because like we can get people qualified through Wells Fargo or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But typically our clients were able to get a better rate getting it directly from Wells Fargo or directly from their bank rather than going through us, because the qualification is different. I'm not a financial person, so I don't understand, but typically it's a lot more beneficial to our clients to go that route.
Green Sky's good. # Green Sky. They're good for smaller projects. Like they don't really have that high-end cap that large scale from the GC world would allot for, but for good projects like that, we're kind of like single trade or one-off projects like roofing or siding. Green Sky can be great for.
Yep. Outside of that, I mean, credit cards are good too. If somebody's got a credit card with a limit, like they need a roof repair but don't have the cash on hand, we'll accept credit cards as well. And that makes a world of difference for some people, because not everybody's a cash customer like we like.
Yep.
But it makes some difference to us if it's a credit card. Great. I mean, we can get the work done, especially on repairs, emergency repairs that need to be done. It was like, hey, we didn't budget this in because we didn't know a branch was going to, well, branch would be insurance, but we didn't know our roof was going to leak for whatever reason. So that's another option. So there's definitely options on our end too. So
ultimately, if you have a project and you have a need and you don't have the money, there's probably a way to do it, because people who have money like giving it out so they can make a little bit of money, but you get the project done that you want to get done, right? So ultimately, as a client that has a construction project, whether exterior construction or interior construction, there's likely a way to get it financed. It's just what's the right way for you, and people who have a lot of experience in that world can help walk you through that process and give you all your options so that you can make an educated decision.
Yeah, and even if we don't offer the product, we can kind of direct, hey, this is going to give you more benefit over that. So again, like always, if you got questions about what we just talked about or about something completely unrelated that does have to do with our industries, we're not going to talk about cars or anything like that. Put it in the comments.
About cars.
We would love, the stuff about minivans though.
I have a minivan. It's a loaner. Don't judge me.
Put them in the comments. We'd love to answer it. We'd love to hear from you, what you want to hear about, who you think looks better, obvious winner, and anything like that. So thanks for watching again. Comment.
If you have any questions for the next video, we're gonna run out of questions or things to talk about at some point. So if you have anything specifically that you'd like to have answered from an interior construction, exterior construction perspective, comment. Let us know. We'd love to answer them for you.
We gotta have a reason to bring Mike back too. So
we need a reason.
Yep. Thanks for being with us. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you on the next one.
Yep.
Thanks for watching another episode of our Ask the Roofer video series. If you like the content, please like, share, or subscribe here on Facebook or on our YouTube channel, whichever way you prefer to see it. And if you have questions, we'd love to get your input, see what you want to learn about, and do our best to help explain those things to you.